Okay. So we are on the back of note sheet, page 10, starting at the very top with lesson 1.4. Here we go.
Is this class? How long is this class period?
Long enough to get done what you need to do.
How long? 70? 50? 70.
Okay. Problem number 1. Philip, where are your notes?
I'm sorry.
Stop it. All right, the first problem says we're going to add f of x and g of x. Kids, this is no harder than you would think. I mean, it is so simple. F of x is x plus 2, and g of x is x squared. So our answer is x squared plus x plus 2. Now, before you ask, I'm not going to mark it wrong if you leave it in this order, but you've all heard of descending order before. Polynomials should always be written in descending order. So that's why I wrote it this way. That's all there is to it. We're done. Number 2, or B, letter B. What do you think that means? Multiply it by 2. So it's going to be 2 times f. So that's 2x plus 4. That's all there is to it. Isn't that easy? All right, let's see what's in the next step. G minus h. All right, just be careful. You are subtracting the entire h. So it'll be x squared, that's g, minus negative 2x plus 5. G minus h. Right?
Yeah.
So we end up with x squared plus 2x minus 5. You all right with that? So far, this is so simple. F times g. That's a times. We're doing f times g. So that would be x plus 2 times x squared. X cubed plus 2x squared. Just see your distributive property. Wow. This is simple.
Is this what our quiz is? Is this it?
No. This is too easy. E. F of x divided by g of x. That will be x plus 2 over x squared. Do not cancel. No canceling. Gotta have the triangle canceling. There's no canceling in that problem. All right. What's the domain of all of these answers that we got? So this was one of our answers. What's the domain? All real numbers. What's the domain of the second one? All real numbers. How do you not have all real numbers? You either have a denominator or you have a radical. No radical, no denominator, no issues. It's all real numbers. How about this one? All real numbers. Yep. How about this one? How about this one? Oh, x can't be 0. Your domain is x can't be 0 because that one has a denominator. Right? Okay. Now, let's look at G. Problem G. Uses the same functions, but this is a little different. This is not addition or multiplication or anything. This is what's called composition. Can anybody read this to me? What does this say in words? F of G of 2. F of 2. There's no operation in there. What we're going to do is find this right here. Can you, forget this for a moment, can you find g of 2? Here's your g function. What's g of 2? 4. Everybody get 4? So this is really 4. So now it says find f of 4. What's f of 4?
6.
So the answer to the problem is 6. We did that in 2 separate steps. Always start with the letter that's closest to the number. So we find g of 2. G of 2 worked out to be 4. So then we found f of 4, which worked out to be 6. This notation, kids, is exactly the same. This is 2 different ways of writing the same problem. These are the same. Use whichever notation you want. That's a little open circle, looks like a little degree mark. But this is f of g of 2. This is f of g of 2. So the answer to question H is also 6. H is the same problem, written differently. Okay? H is the same problem, written differently. What, Nick?
How did we get g of 2 to get to be 4?
Plug 2 in. G of 2 equals 2 squared. Remember, that's how you evaluate a function. You plug in the number. So it says find g of 2, we just put in 2.
For 4g, for 4x squared?
Yeah, we're putting it into the g function, which is x squared. So it's going to be 2 squared, which is 4. Now let's look at the next one. Be careful. Some of you might think the next one is the same problem, but it is not. Where do we start this time? With which function? F. Always start closest to the number. So what's f of 2? What's f of 2? 4? I don't know, so I can't tell. I thought somebody said something else. F of 2 is 4 because f of 2 is 2 plus 2. Now we're going to find g of 4. Well, g of 4 is 16. So the answer to that problem is 16. So f of g of 2 is different than g of f of 2, right? You got to make sure you're going in the right order. How about the next one? H of f of negative 1. What do I do first? Which function do I start with? F. So what is f of negative 1? F of negative 1 would be 1. It's negative 1 plus 2. That's 1. So this is just 1. So now what do I need to figure out? What is h of 1? All right, what's h of 1? 3. So the answer is 3. Oh.
Isn't it 7?
When you say find h of 1, you take out the x's and put in 1s. So it's negative 2 plus 5, which is 3. All right, f of g of h of 1. What's step 1? Gotta find h of 1. Forget about this, that's where you're starting. what is h of 1? 3. Now, what are you going to do with that 3? This part just worked out to be 3. So now you're finding g of 3. All right, what will g of 3 be? G of 3 is 9. 3 squared, 9. Now, what are you going to do with that 9? F of 9, which is 11. And the answer to the question is 11.
So we go from right to left.
Always start closest to the number and work your way back.
Sorry, I'm just
Okay? Somewhere you ought to have a little bit of room on the paper. I want to give you one to practice right now and check with your partner. Using the same functions, do this one for me. Let's do g of h of f of 3. Okay, so everybody's doing this problem. Quickly. Everybody's doing it together. Check your answers.
Which one is this?
I made it up. We're doing it over in the margin of your paper. Using the same functions we've been using. Megan, you got an answer?
Not yet.
Maya, you got an answer? 1? Anybody match 1? Drew got 1. Other people got 25. What'd you get, 5? 25?
I got 25.
Oh,
All right, let's give it a shot and see. Where do we start, Maya? Maya?
With the F. Put the 3 into F.
Yep, 3 into F. And what do I get? 5? So then I take, so this is 5. All right, so now I take h of 5. And h of 5 would be negative 10 plus 5, which is negative 5. And then I take the negative 5 and put it into G. So it becomes 25. You okay with that?
So when you say your final answer, are you just saying it's 25?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, one more thing. Take a look at the next problem, L. What's different about L?
An X.
There's an X instead of a number. Now, do not make this hard. You know, because they told you, g of x is x squared. They told you that. So instead of saying f of g of x, we'll say f of x squared, because g of x is the same as x squared. It says that right here. Now, when you evaluate a function, when you said to me, I'm going to find f of 3, that means you took out the x and you put in 3. So if I'm going to find f of x squared, I'm going to take out the x and plug in x squared. So I end up with x squared plus 2 as my answer. It says f of x is x plus 2. Whatever is here goes here. So if you're saying find f of x squared, you're going to have x squared plus 2. There's one more. Look at the top of the next page. h of f of x. Now, what's f of x? X plus 2. You don't have to think about it. There's no work. It's there. It's written for you. F of x is x plus 2. So this is really saying h of x plus 2. Now, kids, this is h of x. Whatever is here goes here. So we're going to have negative 2 x plus 2 plus 5. Whatever is here goes here. So negative 2 x plus 2 plus 5, which is negative 2x minus 4 plus 5, or negative 2x plus 1. That's your final answer, negative 2x plus 1. You have to simplify it. Okay? Now do me a quick favor. Look back through. Is there anything in the packet up to this point that we have not done? I want to make sure everything's filled in. Okay. All right, then let me turn back our quizzes from yesterday.
Are we keeping them?
Okay, now, remember Patrick had that awesome answer yesterday? When I recorded these on the computer, I gave you that extra point. They're not recorded here. It's out of 19.
19?
So, like Lucy has an 18.5 on her paper. If she looks in the grade book on the line, it will say 19.5.
What's it out of?
19. It's out of 19. So when you check your grade, make sure that I recorded one more than what's on your paper.
No, it's out of 19, but you gotta say it. It's like in the grade book like that.
Minus 18. I'm kidding.
You are so cool.
May I use the restroom, Miss Ford?
But you actually
I remember that.
James.
I mean, I bet these are like.
Delaney, awesome paper.
Sonny, what'd you get? Wait,
How did I get a 20?
extra credit. Extra credit.
Wait, but you said you didn't put it on the
Olivia, awesome paper.
Delaney, you got 105%.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, let's take a look at these now. Let's go over them. I'll just answer any question you have about it. Okay. Anybody have one you want to ask about?
Yeah. You did 4C.
Yeah, that's
4C. All right, before I do 4C, I need to remember what the square root function looks like. The square root function looks like this. Now, if you have that shape, you should have gotten half credit. But to get full credit, you had to have it positioned in the right way. You had to know what these 2's do. Notice that this 2 is hooked right to the X all under the radical. That's a sideways shift. And it goes the opposite of what you think. So that's going to go left 2. Left 2. That 2 is outside the radical, just stuck on the end of the problem. It does exactly what it looks like it's going to do. Down 2. So you have your your square root shape, left 2, down 2. That's the way that looks. Anybody else have a question? Lydia.
What's the answer to 1A?
1A. All real numbers.
Oh.
Oh my goodness gracious. What's our rule?
There is no.
If it doesn't under the radical or under
Yeah, if there's no radical and no denominator, we are so good. Lucy.
for 2B, is there no horizontal?
2B has no horizontal asymptote because the power on top is bigger.
Do you want to do number 2B too?
2B.
I have the VA, I just don't know.
Vertical and horizontal asymptote. Vertical asymptote is at 0 because you have an X down there, it cannot be 0, right? Now, look at my powers, they do not match. When the bigger one is on the bottom, the asymptote is at 0. When the bigger one is on the top, there is none, no asymptote.
What was the horizontal for 2B?
None, because the power on the top is bigger.
What's the vertical one for 2D for what?
Right here. This is 2D. It's X equals 0. The denominator cannot be 0. Chad?
Alright, yeah, absolute value x plus 1.
Are you looking at a particular problem?
Yeah, it's 4a.
Okay.
I accidentally put as plus 1, like 1 up instead of 1 back, which I guess was the right one. So why is it back?
Okay, you need to make the distinction between this problem and this problem. Do you see the difference?
Yeah.
When you are operating, adding or subtracting directly to the X, like here, under the radical, inside the absolute value, squaring, whatever, it's a sideways movement.
So it's a sideways movement and it's the opposite front of that?
Yep. All right, you good with that? We'll put that away, keep that. That'll be a good study guide for you.
Sport.
Yep.
This one, I just put log function, I didn't spell it like just exactly that way you want it.
Well, because log is
I tried to go
log.
over it.
Yeah, I tried that.
Thank you. That's never happened. I didn't go for those. No, I used them with the lowest on the high school.
It'll come back, don't
Laney, what? What? No. I hate when you just keep looking at your. You're gonna just keep looking at your.
The color.
I mean,
What? Okay. I've got our quiz next Tuesday is going to be over your BFFs. And PJ, Bryce, Chandler. I want you all, PJ. I want you to sit up.
I've never seen that happen.
Chandler, I want you to sit up.
I've never seen someone actually fall asleep.
Bryce, I want your head up, not on your hands, not resting on anything, because you'll just go back to sleep. So I have put, not all 12 up here, but I put 9 of them up here. And I have drawn this column, but I want you to write down the name. I have drawn this column, but I want you to write the equation. And I've given you the names, and I want you to give me the graph. All right, so right now on a piece of paper, would you do that? It can be scrap paper.
What's the EX stand for?
Try to do it without looking at your notes.
What's more? What's the EX stand for?
Huh?
The EX.
E to the x, that's one of your equations.
We didn't get it on quiz.
No, but it's one of your BFFs.
I was trying to shit my dad.
Quickly, if we get this review exercise done and one more review exercise done, I will give you some time off.
So would you do check-in and then? No,
Are we back to normal schedule?
before practice, I can
Heck
talk
yeah.
really early. It's like, okay, once you're done.
Pretty sure I'm really
Okay, so Delaney, that's something you're gonna work on over the weekend, because on Tuesday, we're gonna have our quiz. Nothing but BFFs, but you have to know the things I told you to know. The name, the picture, and the equation.
Is there something on Monday?
Are we gonna give them the top for the no counted as quadratic?
Is there something on Monday, Miss Ford?
I don't know.
All the teachers are giving quizzes.
On Tuesday? Okay, well, right, I can move it to Wednesday. Tuesday's a bad day for you. I don't have a problem with that.
Thanks, Miss Ford.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with that. Well, I mean, because we gotta know this, as long as we don't break test, we're fine.
For this, is that those three, or is it those?
No, you draw this. You draw
The
the second column, I said write the equation. Write the name.
Hey, what's the
So in the first column, write the name of the pictures I have drawn.
And the first
In the first column. In the second column, write the equation of the pictures I've drawn. In the third column, draw the picture. And then, if you're really good, list the 3 functions that I left out.
Oh, you left the greatest ever.
No, she didn't.
Cosine.
What?
Greatest integer.
Yeah, greatest integer.
Natural logarithm.
Thank you.
I thought we were saying How long is our next class? What is?
Hash it out with each other if you need help.
Check out.
Why are you emailing during class?
Oh, because I just saw that.
No, 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 no.
First class is so good.
Little messed up.
So good.
I know I'm not during class. First of all, you're not supposed to email me. I didn't email you, and second of all, if you have a question for me,
She's standing right there.
No, she was teaching. She was in the middle of
She's
email.
email. She's teaching.
learning.
And I knew I wasn't going to get the right.
Oh, she's teaching. That's probably
Probably she's busy.
Unbelievable. Here we go.
Aaron, it's fine. Aaron, you're good. It's fine. I understand.
Oh, PJ's
So you know you're good.
PJ's telling you.
Okay. Everybody back to order. Here we go. Let's see how you did. Name. Logistic. Do not say log because we have something called the logarithmic function. So you must write the word logistic. This is the squaring. If you put quadratic, that is fine. Both of those words are fine. This is absolute value. Those are the names.
Got those.
The equation for logistic is 1 over 1 plus e to the negative x. That's in your book, on your BFF sheet, and hopefully in your notes. Now I want the equation. Anybody know this one? Y equals 1 over x. If you can remember that it is the reciprocal function, 1 over x kind of makes sense. 1 over x reciprocal. If you miss this one, we are in dire straits. Y equals x. This is your identity or your linear function, y equals x. This one is y equals x cubed. Those are the equations for these pictures.
Okay.
Now we need to draw the picture. I am going to be somewhat picky. Make sure that when you do your greatest integer function, you have a dot at the origin and you open your bar to the right. That's what it looks like.
Do you always have to start at the origin?
Yes. And then you're going to put a dot above it and open that bar to the right. Put a dot above that one, open to the right, and so on. ln(x). This is your logarithmic function right here. And that's exactly right, Mackenzie. It looks like this. Now again, I'm going to be somewhat picky. This is an asymptote. Do not be crossing it. Do not be crossing that asymptote. This one is your exponential. Same thing. It has an asymptote this way.
Don't be crossing.
Don't be crossing that. That's your exponential. What are the three functions I didn't put on the board? Square root, sine, and cosine. Square root, sine, and cosine are not up here. Everything else is up here. Okay? I think, I'm going to check and see. I think I've got last year's quiz. I might run that off. We'll practice it on Monday. For a quiz, I guess, on Wednesday, if that works out better for you. Okay? Now, one more quick thing of review, and then we're done. Same sheet of paper. I want you to draw 4 things for me. Same sheet of paper.
That was good.
Miss Ford, what time do we get out at?
Soon.
Tomorrow.
Am I allowed to check my phone for this revenue?
No. I will tell you in a minute. Okay. Now, the quiz on Wednesday, well, I don't know, since I'm doing it Wednesday, I may revise that. Okay, so the problems that we just got done doing were all the straight BFF questions. No numbers stuck in, nothing, just the straight BFFs. These involve the BFFs. I want you to sketch these. They involve the BFFs, but I've made some changes, just like we did on the quiz we took the other day. So let me number these. And I just want to go back over this and make sure everybody's clear. Okay, wait a minute. This is a sign. Now a normal sign goes up 1 and down 1, right? So this would be a normal sign. Would everybody agree with that?
Yes.
Now, we're going to take that and move it how? Up 1. So, this point, instead of being at the origin, is going to be up here, right?
Yeah.
And this, which was at 1, is now going to be up at 2?
Yeah.
So here we go. Take a look at my green picture and see if you're okay with it. See if that green picture makes sense to you in terms of taking the sine function and lifting it up 1 unit.
Yeah.
Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. How about here? What's happening here? It's the absolute value, V,
It's going
dropped down 2.
I thought it was the opposite.
If it's inside with the X, it's the opposite. Okay, we're almost done, guys. Hang on.
Trying so hard to focus right
I know. Try hard to focus. Here we go. What shape is number 3 going to be?
That will
Parabola.
Parabola.
That's your squaring function. It's a parabola. James Watt. 2 things have happened. How did we shift this parabola?
Left 1.
Left
It's
1
going to
down
be
3.
left 1 because it's the opposite. So it's going to go left 1 and down 3. So left 1 and down 3, there's your parabola. Mackenzie. And then my last problem of the week,
Yeah.
I got tricky.
Okay.
Let's
Flip it.
I like to
Flip
trick
it.
it.
You flip
Yeah.
it. This turns it
Yeah, flip it.
upside down.
Yeah, flip it.
So what does the x minus 4 do?
To the right, because we're under the
Next to the
radical.
right. And it's turned upside down.
Yeah.